Hi, my loves. Hasina here. Happy October. Here to chat with you tonight. It is a nighttime vid. Um, Before we start, as always, if you are enjoying these chats, please like, subscribe, share, and most importantly, I'd love to hear from you. So definitely send me some comments. Let me know what you're thinking about these chats. Okay. It's October. Everything is moving so quickly. Uh, if you're on the East Coast, you're having that beautiful wonky weather of 90, then 60, then 80, then 60. I'm not complaining though. I don't mind a hot day knowing it's followed up with two cool ones. So today, as always, have a lot on my mind. So we're just gonna run it. I don't plan to make this a long one today. Definitely not like the get ready with me's, which I have not figured out how to make within a shorter time span. Well, as usual, there's so much going on in the world and in our world, and it's I want to say unsettling. I wish I had better words than that, because I don't like any language that kind of lives in fear. Taking a partial quote, because I don't really have the correct quote from that movie with Will Smith, but like danger and fear aren't the same, and right now a lot of things are dangerous, but at the same time the way we spread it is we spread it with fear without the even discussion of solution, a serious discussion about solution. Even the movie that came out recently, and as you know, I very rarely give the specific name. We all know what we're talking about, because energy is important, and power is in energy, and I have no interest in giving power in those things. But I saw that the reviews are very mixed, which is not surprising. There was someone online how I wish this was a job, because I really appreciated them posting, but saying to those who are kind of HSPs that it's probably not in your best interest to see it. It's just a little too heavy and a little too disturbing. So it may sit with you too long. So I definitely won't see it. But one of the reviews, someone said that they feel like it is imperative that people see it in order to understand how a troubled person becomes so violent. I think there are a lot of troubled people, and most often, troubled is a loaded word too. Sorry, there's hair on my face that I can't catch. Okay. Troubled is a loaded word too. I wish that we had more language for the way that people's minds work, emotions, chemical imbalances, addiction, because I think we so often conflate mental illness with troubled. And sometimes it's just the brain chemistry is different. That's all it is. Sometimes it's, or like even with neurodiversity or neuroatypical people, it's just the mind is moving differently. That doesn't mean troubled, because I see in the world often so many people who are troubled and yet may not ever be diagnosed as having a mental illness or a mental health issue, but are definitely a danger to a lot of people. And I feel like we lack the language to really discuss that. Also, I think in the day and age, I'm not looking for to sympathize with those who may put me and many others in danger. Because many people who look like me and are me or adjacent aren't given that same kind of sympathy, or rather empathy. And it seems like we do all these like jumps around and jumping around hoops before we ever get there. There's always like, what? But we're always waiting to understand that someone got their feelings hurt one day and then harm a whole bunch of other people. I just think we're doing it wrong. I don't have all the answers. I don't know what is the perfect way to do it, but this way of thinking where, okay, so this person is like me, let me understand their story to understand why they harmed all those people. But those people being harmed, they'll be okay. Things happen. And I just think that we're doing this weird conditioning thing where we're getting really comfortable with not seeing each other and not considering each other. And if we're not the same, then there's no care, there's no love. There was a horrible video I saw of a black woman who was on the train and attempting to smoke a crack pipe. And I never saw the crack pipe in the video, but anyway, that's what it said. And they dragged that woman and they beat that woman, and so many people were trying to okay the behavior of the others because she's a crackhead. And I'm like, okay, it would not be okay if she smoked it. And I don't know the perfect answer, but I'm pretty sure beating and dragging someone is not the answer. And people were like, if we waited on the cops, then we would be delayed. A delay is worse than you assaulting someone. And you don't even think for a second that could be worse. The part that bothered me the most was people were arguing with her and she was responding coherently and clearly. And not to say she would have totally listened, but there was no moment where they tried to say, yo, don't do that shit. Or say, I'm gonna take that shit if you do that shit. No, it was just immediately to beating. Immediately to beating and dragging. And there's reasons for that. Maybe that's another video. But there's reasons for feeling like that's okay. And I do very much believe we're being conditioned to believe that is okay. And that is why we have to do everything we can to maintain our humanity in these times. And the joke is, I'm not one of those people. I don't believe violence is the answer. I do think that we often think of violence only in physical terms, and people are regularly violent to each other in many, many other ways. And I think we need to start thinking about that. I don't think we do enough. I also think people, I've talked about this before, as someone in the arts, as someone who creates, as someone who performs, I think a lot of people perform their lives and they think that what they're doing is okay. I think I'm born and raised in New York City, and I think there are a lot of people in New York City who are not, who are emulating what they've seen or thought New York should be, and it's not it. It's not it. It is not it. There's always been a sense of, maybe we're rough around the edges, but there's always been a sense of humanity that I can recall growing and living in this city. And I have seen over the past decade or more of this feeling of oh, I'm going to push you because that's what I saw and that's what I heard New Yorkers do. And it's not quite like that. I can always tell when it's someone performing New York behavior. Anyway, I'm digressing. I think we have to really think about our humanity, how we treat others. And I talk about these things all the time in these videos, but I think you can definitely, in these times with the things going on, that you can get away from yourself and you can perform what you think you are doing instead of actually embodying what you want to be doing. And being honest with yourself that you're probably maybe acting out in these ways because you feel disempowered and you feel like you can't address why you feel disempowered, because that will probably implode your life. I think we need to sit on that. There's other shit I'd like to talk about, but I think we need to sit on that. We need to think about violence and what violence is in all aspects, not just the physical, and think about how we play into that. In what ways are we violent? Not just not hitting someone else, or in what ways do you live your life and are violent towards others, and even in the most minor ways. And ask yourself why you're really doing that, and what can you do to dismantle that so that you can live better, because when you live better, others live better too. I think that's all I got for today, my loves. I will try to be more diligent about making these videos. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I wish you a beautiful week, and we will talk soon. One love. Peace.